is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing Comic Uno episode 37. And this is a show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show in a countdown type version, so worst pick of the week to best pick of the week. This week I have 13 comics, 3 digital, all the rest printed. A couple of indie stuff this week, so some big indie stuff, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But let's get started. What was my worst pick of the week? What was number 13? Which is Wolverine issue 2, of course it is. This again wasn't that great of an issue. Superior being in this issue was kind of weird. I don't know what the purpose of Superior being in here was. It's like, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. That's pretty much what Superior says. Really, it's just to sell the book. It's like, oh, Superior Spider-Man's here. That's our best-selling book, so let's put him in this Wolverine book. And then it's that other story with these weird people standing around him. And of course, it's that generic Sabretooth story. I was like, well, you gotta get Sabretooth. What else is new? That's your arch nemesis, so why not fight him in the first story arc of Wolverine? Nothing, really interesting in this story. They talk about Avengers a little. He's like, oh, seems like you're in a lot of teams, so why not create another team? I guess there's some cool banter between Superior and Wolverine, but it doesn't really quite make sense why Superior's in this issue. So I gotta give this a 2.5. The art's good. I'll give it that. Kitty was in this issue, so of course it has to be a little higher. But yeah, if you guys tell me I'm not picking up the series anymore, so if Kitty does join the series and they finally confront each other, because it seems like it's been building through issue 1 and 2, tell me if she's in an issue, then I'll pick it up. But I didn't like this issue that much. I mean, was it horrible? No, it wasn't that good either, though. I gotta give this a 2.5. Yeah, I'm done with this series. It's the same thing as the other series, except with better art. That's the best way to put it, because it's Stegman's art, so it's good art. But yeah, the same thing. It feels like the same type of story. It's still not good. There's nothing happening here to say, whoa, cool, a cool Wolverine series. No, it's not. Alright, so number 12 is The Flash, issue 28, which is weird because Flash is usually a lot higher than this, but not so weird because this has been a total filler story arc until we get the new writers. So yeah, this is actually better than I expected, though. I expected this to be lower than Wolverine, because this is like kind of the middle. I read Wolverine first to get it out of the way, honestly. So yeah, I read The Flash, and it was actually better than I expected because we get to see some cool story that has been continuing through the series, like, Barry's mom, they're trying to discover that. There's a cool cliffhanger here that one of the cops actually is killing all these people. So cool cliffhanger, but overall a filler issue, and you feel it here. In your gut, it's a filler issue, and that annoyed me. You're like, they really just want to get Brian Buccellato out of here, that we get the new writers. So you can feel that. He's not progressing the story at all. And again, you feel it. But there are little seeds that are dropped where I feel that guy who's like his father is definitely one who killed the mother. So I do like that story. But the art really makes it out, not that good either. The inking is way, way, way too dark here. It really takes you out of the issue. I think I would have given this a lot higher of a grade, again, if the art wasn't so dark. That's not Flash, and it was the same thing as that last issue, too. And then Deadman, do I really care about Deadman? No, not really. So there's a lot of, bad things about this issue, but then there's some okay things. It's not a horrible issue, so I'll give this a 3. It was not that great. It's definitely a filler, but still, there's some cool elements here, so I'm going to leave it up to you guys if you want to pick it up or not. It's only a $2.99 book, but it is a filler, and you'll feel that as you're reading the issue. Alright, so number 11 is a comic I don't have on me personally because I read it digitally, but that's Tomb Raider issue 1. And this wasn't a bad issue either. Really not a lot of bad issues this week. Some mediocre issues, but a lot of great issues this week too, which I'll get to obviously once this episode continues. But Tomb Raider issue 1 wasn't bad, but I've never really played Tomb Raider, don't know much about Tomb Raider, just know she's an archaeologist, she's badass, that's it. So, you're saying, Kat, why did you buy this issue? You don't know anything about Tomb Raider. First of all, it's issue 1, so I feel like I could pick this up if I want to. And it's Gail Simone, and it's a female character. I'm like, I gotta give this a chance, So I did pick it up. I wasn't getting that much this week. A lot of digital this week, not even a lot printed. I only got 10 books printed this week, and usually my normal's 14, or 14 books to read. So I was like, alright, it's a moderate week this week, so why not pick up Tomb Raider? Again, it wasn't that big of a week, at least for me. So I pick it up, and it's okay. You know, I think you do have to play the video game to know who this character is and be interested in the story. But, you know, I felt like I knew who Laura was by the end of the issue. The art's actually really cool. The coloring is really bright, which I like about the series. But again, it's nothing where I'm like, well, I gotta pick up that next issue. I'm not gonna pick up issue 2, but I thought it was a fun issue for issue 1. I learned who the character was, but there's no driving force for me to pick up the next issue. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. Not a bad issue, but not the best either. Alright, so number 10 is Fantastic Four, issue 1. I'm really ashamed to see this lower on my list. I wanted this to be like number 1 this week, but it wasn't because it wasn't that great. But it wasn't that bad either, don't worry guys. So with this issue we get to see a new run, a new creator, which I haven't loved a lot of modern Fantastic Four series. I'm actually a big Fantastic Four fan, but more of the older Fantastic Four stuff. When I was growing up, I picked up a lot of back issues for Fantastic Four, and I really liked the team. I actually really liked the movie too. That's how I got into the Fantastic Four. So don't blame me. But yeah, that's how I got into Fantastic Four when I was little, and I really liked the team. I love the members. It was one of my favorite Marvel series, really, growing up. So I can't read the modern stuff because I didn't like Hickman's run, didn't like Fraction's run, and I'm like, Robinson, please do this for me, and it was okay. I mean, was it bad? No, but it was okay. I feel like some of the characters are out of place. Like Sue, she says this line that kind of pissed me off, where she's like, I'm an awesome wife, and I could do this too. I'm like, that's like really old Sue, like 1960s Sue, not Sue of the modern age. She would never say that, especially in battle. She would never say, I could do this, awesome wife, right, Reed? I don't see her saying that, so that was a little weird. And then this beginning portion of the issue, maybe it's because I haven't read Fantastic Four in a little while, but I did read a good amount of Fraction's run. But maybe because I haven't read his run for a while. But the beginning was that Thing was arrested because of Reed. Reed is not on top of his game. Johnny is going back to celebrityness, and he's not on top of his game either. And Sue's just kind of like depressed and lonely. And Valeria is gone because she's 9 or so, and she's able to leave her family. Makes sense. Because she needs some space. That's why Valeria is gone. Sure, why not do that? So yeah, that whole first part didn't really connect so much to the story because it didn't really seem like the Thing was angry with Reed. I didn't feel like it played a major part in the story, but that was the introduction. So you're like, oh, of course that, you know, that's going to make sense, but not really. It didn't play out that much in the issue. The art's pretty good here. The action's good. You know, it's an okay issue. I'm not saying it's a bad issue, just I expected a lot more. But the one thing I did like is that they're on Earth again. It feels like an older Fantastic Four book because of that. And I liked it. Yeah, it felt like an older Fantastic Four book. It felt a little bit about family, even though Valerie is not even in this issue. But the art's okay. The story's okay. And I'm going to give it a 3.5. Okay issue. Still looking forward to the series, but this is not what I wanted for the first issue. It's a little bit disappointed with that one. Alright, now we're up to, let's see. Alright, we are up to number 9, which is Guardians of the Galaxy, issue 12. Yeah, another just okay issue this week. Didn't really progress that much, the story. And we're up to part 4 out of 6, and the story still hasn't progressed. Now, what I would like to see in this issue was the trial in general. They started doing the trial, but they did not continue it. They had a lot of other stories going on. Some good stories, though. We got, like, Cyclops encountering his father again. He has a little moment with X-23. You know, Jean does go on trial, but then there's these boring spells about the people that actually captured her, and which is actually the father of Kid Gladiator. So, you know, we've seen them before in the X-Men, but I did not care what they were talking about. I'm like, let's just see Jean now. Come on. Like, I really, we've heard it. You don't like her. She killed somebody you liked. Okay, we get it. So, let's go to Jean again. And again, this doesn't progress that much, and that's one thing that annoys me. We're up to part 4 already, not progressing a lot. The art's good. There's some really cool little moments, but not like an all-new X-Men book where there's two scenes that are great. You know, I think with all new X-Men, there's not a lot of scenes, but there's always that really emotional scene and great character building scene. Guardians of the Galaxy, we got little sprinkles of that, but not, you know, not a lot. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. Still looking forward to see where this goes. Hopefully, because there's a lot that's supposed to happen. Cyclops is supposed to get his own book. I don't think this connects with this, but Captain Marvel's supposed to join Guardians of the Galaxy. So there's other things that are supposed to happen after Trials of Jean Grey. It just doesn't seem like anything's happening now, and I hope they don't squash it in the last 2 issues where it's like, oh, now too much is going on. So yeah, 3.5. It was okay. Expected a little bit more with this one. But at least I'm reading Guardians of the Galaxy again, so I'm happy about that. At least there's a story going on. Alright, so now we're up to number 8. I'm going to drop one of them. Well, where did it go? Alright, here we go. Sorry. Alright, we got number 8, which is Wolverine and the X-Men, issue 42. Yeah, this is actually a solid issue. A little closer to 3.5, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it a 4, which it deserves the 4. This is the last issue of Wolverine and the X-Men, so it ended well. Was it the best last issue in the world? No. But it was cool, because the first issue started out with Quentin chained up and a terrorist. And now Quentin wants to be that guy again, but he's not. And he graduates and ends in a cool note. Some of them aren't graduated, but Pixie's finally graduated, who I thought graduated a long time ago because she's been in the X-Men for such a long time. But yeah, so we get to see her graduated, Quentin graduate, and then I love that question Quentin asks himself, like, if I'm not a villain, if I'm graduated, what do I do next? And that will be next week's issue of Wolverine X-Men. And let's talk about that. Do I think Wolverine X-Men should have been rebooted? With this issue, it kind of made sense. It felt like an end of a chapter, so I'm not as angry that it got rebooted, but still kind of pissed off because you didn't have to really reboot it. But I guess they're changing the creative team. The chapter truly is over, so I kind of get it. But why couldn't we go up to issue 100 with Wolverine X-Men? God knows why. I don't know, because next week we're getting a new issue anyways. But one thing I also gotta say is that the art is very inconsistent. I think there's like 5 artists on this. The first half or 3/4 of the issue is same artist. And then maybe every 2 pages we got a new artist towards the end. So for the last issue, I think you could have committed to have 1 artist. So that kind of pissed me off because the artists weren't great either. They're okay. So it's kind of pissed me off that we got like 4 artists in 1 issue. Yeah, so that didn't quite make sense to me. Why didn't you just do 2 artists? 1 for the past, 1 for the future. Or 1 for the present. That would have made sense. So 4 stars overall. It wasn't a perfect issue, but I thought it was very solid. I liked the ending. Looking forward to the next chapter, and I thought it was a good close in the end. I love Quentin. I love his character, so I'm glad to see him grow so much. Alright, now we're up to number 7, which is Powerpuff Girls, issue 6, which you can also see a kitty corner review for this. But Powerpuff Girls was really fun. If you love the series, you get that same vibe. And there's a lot of moments here, like, I could see that on the show. I could see Buttercup saying that. I could see Bubbles saying that. The one inconsistency is, and which I talked about in the kitty corner review, is that Bubbles has her freeze breath, or ice breath. That doesn't make sense, because there was a whole episode dedicated to Powerpuff Girls where Blossom was the only one who had the ice breath. And I didn't like that they made Bubbles have it too. And I think they did that in the show a couple of times too, but she's not supposed to have it. And no, actually they did in the comic a couple of times. I don't know, but she's not supposed to have it, and I was kind of upset with that. Other than that, it was a really fun issue, because we get to see Mojo Jojo tell us his plan, of course, to the Powerpuff Girls, but he has another plan, and he still fails at it, because Mojo Jojo always fails. So, love the issue, great, art's great, and it has such a great tone to it, because it reminds you so much of the show. So, I'm glad to see that this is ongoing now, and I will be reviewing it for Kitty Corner every month, because I love the series, so it's great. Good issue. That was number 7, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, number 7. So now we're going to number 6, which is a Comic Frontline exclusive, which is Awake, issue 6. Really cool issue, solid issue. Glad to see that the series is returned. And let me just say, this is my favorite cover of the week. I love the colors here. It's something, again, I've been looking forward to for the Wake, because I love the ending for issue 5. And then I'm like, what's going to happen in part 2? It's supposed to be like a totally different story, but how's this going to connect? And in the end of the issue, it does totally connect. You learn who this new character is, which I think it's the Archer, who, let me see what her full name is, which obviously you can see in the end. Her full name is Lee Archer, who is our main character from part 1. I have a feeling this is like her great-granddaughter. I have a feeling they're related, so that'd be interesting, because they kind of look alike. they have the same attitude with each other, and I think that'd be a cool connection. So we get to see what this world's all about, and you get to see that she's trying to plan, I guess, a way to save the world. And a lot of people don't agree with her, just like, you know you're not going to save the world. Stop living in that plane. Stop living in a dream world. You're not going to save the world. And I guess these people are up against her. This is like the government. This is a part I didn't quite love, where they're explaining about the new government. I guess they're just giving us a tone for what the government's like now, but it was okay. And they are going to capture our main character here, but in the end, she finally hears something on the radio, and she hears that Lee Archer is alive. So maybe she did survive that whole wave thing, or maybe that was a previous radio call. But I think that's interesting, because we ended the story with us not knowing if she survived. So I really like that, and I think that there's an opportunity of her being the great-granddaughter of our main character from part 1, which was Lee Archer. Yeah, so I thought this was a really solid issue. Again, the government stuff was but I really like our main character. I thought it was a great setup issue, and looking forward to see how this issue ends, because I love this horror thriller-like thing we're getting here. So I'm going to give it 4 stars. I like this issue, very solid, and I think this was worth the wait. So that was number 6 on my list. Alright, now let me just say about my top 5. These are truly top 5s. These are awesome issues this week. Which I can't find one of the issues, but there we go, I found it. But yeah, honestly, these 5 comics were great. I love them all, and you know, some weeks it's just like, yeah, they're just in my top 5. But these are truly top 5 books that could have really easily been pick of the weeks if it was in another week. So let's talk about number 5, which is Hawkeye, issue 15. I feel like Hawkeye's back on track. This was a delayed issue, and this is a Clint issue, but this is truly back on track. We got David Aja's art, which I love his art, and I love it for the series, which he could do every issue, but he can't because there's a lot of issues, and especially since we got Kate issue now. But I really like this because we get to see that old vibe of Clint, and it seems like the bro story is ending, which, you know, I love the bros, don't get me wrong. I love, like, bro. I like it, but it seems like it's finally, you know, the arc has lasted about, what, 15, 16 issues? That's enough for the bros. Let them deal what they gotta deal with. Let's end the arc. It seems like it's continuing here, which is great. And I love the interactions he has with a lot of the characters here. With his brother, who's helping him out. With the girls in his life, his ex-wife, which he still obviously keeps in contact with. Spider-Woman, his best friend. And I think Black Widow was here, or is the other girl. Pretty sure it's Black Widow, though. That was the one thing. I couldn't tell which character that was, and they never said who it was. Pretty sure it's Black Widow, though, the way he was talking to her. But yeah, I really like this issue. I like that finally we're continuing with this story arc, and the cliffhanger here was like, whoa, how are they going to get out of this? And I am spoiling the cliffhanger, so if you don't want to know, like, skip a little. We got to see that Clint and his brother get shot, and Jessica is just standing there with the blood on her face. So, no, she did not shoot them, but yeah, that's a great cliffhanger. The person that's like the head of the bros killed him, or at least shot him. So I don't know what's going on with that, but that was a cool cliffhanger. This comic's back on track. 4.5 fun moments. His pants are around his ankle for most of the issue. Yeah, this is why I fell in love with this series. So 4.5. Really enjoyed this. Again, if this was another week, this could have easily been pick of the week also. So that is number 5. Now number 4 is a digital comic, which is Furious, issue 2. Now, if you're not reading Furious, I totally recommend it. It's obviously a series that's under the radar, but I love it. It's such a great series, and with this issue, we get to see a continuation of who this character is, and I love the mystery of this character. Now, our main character is a celebrity. She did wrong things. She's like a Lindsay Lohan, Miley Cyrus type celebrity. She did a lot of wrong things in her life, but now she has these superpowers and she wants to help. And she's, you know, trying not to be a celebrity again. She had not a great father. Her sister died and her mother died. And it doesn't seem like her sister died, because this ending, there's this redheaded girl who has the same powers, and it seems like it could be her sister. That's just a guess. That wasn't announced in this issue, but it seemed like it could be her sister. So she does already arch nemesis. But I really like this issue because you get to see exactly who this character is. You get to see a little bit of her past, which is great for a mysterious character. Can't wait to find out her origins of how she got these powers. Looking forward to that. And like you get to see that she gets furious very easily, and you get to see her limits of her powers, that she doesn't even know her limits, so it seems like her powers are kind of new. But loved it. I love this character. I love the, you know, the irony that she's a celebrity, a Lindsay Lohan type celebrity, and she's a superhero. I think that's so cool. It's so original. So I've really been enjoying this series. It's one of my favorite indie books right now. It's only up to issue 2, but really enjoying it. So pick it up. That was number 4. And again, this could have been an easy pick of the week, but just with such a great week this week, it got a 4.5. Really good issue though. I'm looking forward to see where this series goes. Alright, so number 3 is The Superior Spider-Man, issue 28, part 2 of Goblin Nation. Again, another issue that could have easily been pick of the week. I love this issue, you know, which is weird because part 1 I didn't love. It was kind of lower on the list, but this is high on the list this week. And honestly was number 1 on my list for a really long time until I read the 2 issues I obviously put up, number 2 and 1. But with Superior Spider-Man, there's some really great little moments here. You know, we get to see a continuation of the Goblin story. All the Goblins know that Peter is Dr. Octopus, which is kind of weird because, you know, only Carly knew for such a long time, and now it's easy information. And now the Goblins have an idea of course, attacking everyone Peter loves, and, you know, is that important to Dr. Octopus? Probably not, you know, he doesn't care about these people. But Anna Marie goes in a car with Carly's sister, who's also a goblin. So now Dr. Octopus has something on the line. So he's going to have to save these people. So it's really cool moments with Carly actually getting out of the Green Goblin's possession for a little while and saying, I can't keep control for long, but I need to tell you that your family's in danger, your friends are in danger, and he's going to kill them. And deal with that. So there's some really great action moments. We do get some Peter moments here, accessing memory for Dr. Octopus's memories and trying to figure out who is Peter Parker, and he keeps going into Dr. Octopus's memory, so he's like, no, I'm Peter Parker, not this guy. And it's interesting to see that. Maybe not as much needed because we did get to see that already a lot with the last issue, and really only complaint I have with this issue really was that it was very cluttered. A lot of things happening at once, which is kind of known for Superior Spider-Man recently. And also the art. I don't love the facial expressions. So that was really the only little nitpicks I have for this issue. Yeah, but overall, let me just tell you my favorite part of this week probably. This one scene was awesome and I loved it. Even though this was not pick of the week, I love this scene. Mary Jane is back. She's no damsel in distress. She got the spiders, the web shooters. She's like, you know what? I can attack these goblins. I am the wild card. I'm no chess piece. I'll take the chess pieces off the board. This is the Mary Jane we know and love. She's no ditz. She'll do all that. So you know what? Doesn't make up for the ditziness issue 1 through 27. No, but you know what? This is a close second. At least we're going into who Mary Jane was. She's finally taken action. Loved it. Loved Mary Jane in this issue. I can't believe I'm saying that about Superior Spider-Man, but glad to see her back in action. And love that she has web shooters. I've seen it before in a previous Spider-Man series, but it's cool to see in this way. Love this issue. Such a great issue. Some great things happen here. Goblin Nation better be this good every issue, because this was an amazing issue. Very easily could have been my pick of the week, but 2 other issues did beat it. But love this. One of my favorite Superior Spider-Man issues, especially for that Mary Jane moment. You guys know I'm a big Mary Jane fan, so love that. So number 2 is another girlfriend, actually, of a superhero, our previous girlfriend of a superhero. And that is Superman Lois Lane, issue 1. Yeah, this is actually really good, even though it was a one-shot. This is number 2, and I really, really enjoyed this. I'm gonna say the main story was kind of just, like, generic. It was like, oh, you know, popping pills for the sister, and it was like people turning into monsters. I mean, I wouldn't say generic, but it wasn't totally original and totally interesting. But it got interesting because of who these characters were. I feel like we got totally old Lois Lane here, and which is great. If you miss pre-Nif 2 Lois Lane kicking ass, telling people what to do, being a reporter, but being a caring person at the same time. You see this in this issue. And you get to see Lucy again, which I don't think we've even seen Lucy in New 52. She was actually Superwoman in pre-New 2 land, so maybe that'll happen in New 52. I don't think so, but who knows. But introducing Lucy in this way was great. Seeing that Lois is kind of a mother to Lucy in a way, and you see how close they were. They had their own language. You know, they were the only people that went through going base to base, not really having a home. They were each other's best friends, and again, Lois became kind of a mother for Lucy. So Lucy gets in trouble and lies to Lois, and Lois has to use her detective skills to figure out what's truly going on. And Lucy's taking these drugs that turn into a monster, and I really love that interaction. And one of my favorite parts was the analogy in this issue, where they use it about 2 or 3 times in this issue. And it's Lucy trying to be catched by Lois. So Lucy falls, like, catch me, and Lois is like, I can't catch you, I know I can't catch you, this never works, I'm just gonna break my nose again. And the ending is saying, you know what, I never did catch you. So I was never the best person, but we always fell together, and I love that. I love that analogy, and I love these two sisters' bond, and it was great. I love the narration. It was old Lois Lane, and with a lot of these double-sized issues, you could either be kind of bored and be like, it's a little bit too long, or totally entertained. And I was totally entertained with this, and I'm glad this was a long issue. This was great. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. Really close to being my pick of the week, obviously, but all 5 of these issues really were close to being my pick of the week, because they were great issues this week. So I gotta give this 5 out of 5. Loved it. It's worth this one shot. It's worth the $4.99. I'm sure it's better than Joker's Daughter. But if you miss old Lois Lane, I think you'll really enjoy this one. So 5 out of 5 for me. Art was great. Story was great too. So pick that up. So what is number 1? You know, what beat all these great issues? And that was an event that shocked me. Cataclysm, the Ultimate's Last Stand, the last issue for this event, and this is issue 5. You know, I really love this event. You know, I thought this was one of the best Marvel events in a really long time, and why I was so happy, and actually ended well too. You know, you can say about Battle of the Atom, started really, really solid, and it went totally down. Yeah, a lot of those series start that way, and this didn't. This had the perfect amount of issues. It had the emotion, it had the action, and that's what this issue was about. It was the emotion and the action, especially as a long-time Ultimates reader like myself. So with this, and a Kitty Pryde fan, of course, Kitty saves the world, saves the Ultimate Universe. She distracts Galactus and attacks Galactus, fights Galactus, and actually Reed, the unexpected hero, uses the negative zone technology to trap Galactus as Kitty was trying to fight Galactus. Kitty almost gets trapped, but Miles and Sue does save her. And Thor actually gets in the mix of this and gets trapped in the negative zone. So I guess there's going to be a story of him trying to escape. I'm sure there will be in the future. And after that, there's that light in the end of the tunnel. And they survive. So, and that'll be the next story arc, is their survival. I love this issue because it was action-packed, of course, but the story was here. This one scene where Kitty was being instructed what to do, saying really, you've done this before, you have to save the people you love. And you know, if you don't know, Kitty's been in the Ultimate Universe for a while. She dated Peter, she went to Peter's high school, so she's been in the Ultimate Universe before the reboot with Miles Morales and all that. She's become more of a main player now, but she's been in the Ultimate Universe and a character that has developed so much. I would say she was a young, kind of naive girl in the beginning, and now she's this leader of the mutants. And what I love and what I predict is, because Kitty did save the world, a mutant, maybe this could be a really cool track to see that mutants won't be hated in the Ultimate Universe, which I think is something we need. We had this whole arc in X-Men about it. It's like, oh, you know, mutants are hated, they had to live in utopia. But if Kitty was this figure that saved everybody, maybe we could have that difference of people liking mutants. And I want to see that difference. Like, the Ultimate Universe is all about difference. You know, it's a rebooted world. Anything can happen. So, you know, mutants are always going to be hated in the regular universe, but why not be loved in the Ultimate Universe? I like that story, and I hope they go that direction. I don't know why they would pick Kitty if they weren't going to go that direction. So I really like that. She is the leader of the mutants. She's already been the figurehead of the mutants, so it makes sense. I love that Reed, who was this evil guy, is the one who really saved the world too, and was actually sorry he trapped Thor. He's like, I'm sorry, it's the only thing I could do. So you get to see a nicer side of Reed. Again, it was action-packed, emotionally there, and it makes me totally excited to re-survive in the rest of these new Ultimate Universe titles. I loved it. 5 stars, great issue, and great ending. Really loved this issue, and again, really a lot of great issues this week. Only a couple, small, poor issues. I would say one really true poor issue, and then other in the middle. But yeah, a lot of great issues this week, which was great. One of the best weeks for comics in a while. But hope you guys enjoy. This is Comic Uno, and guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and the Red Situations, and don't forget to watch Comic Uno episode 38 next week. And tell me in the comments below what was your best pick of the week, worst pick of the week, and I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno at Comic Frontline, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.